Hey everybody. All right, so today's lesson is about algebraic expressions. So let me share my screen. Ooh, maybe too bright. Nope, too dark. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so we've watched a few videos already on algebraic expressions, but I just wanted to go into it a little bit more with you. All right, so remember that an expression is a problem with variables and numbers. But it can be a numerical expression or an algebraic expression. So we're going to look at the difference between the two. Okay? So a numerical expression would be something like 2 plus 3. Okay? There's no variables involved, but you have an operation, okay? Plus, minus, multiplication, right? Or division. Okay? And then depending on what type of expression you're looking at, you would have variables and numbers, okay? So an algebraic expression might look like x minus 5, okay? Because it has a variable and a number, okay? So the thing that they have in common is an operation, okay? Numerical expressions only have numbers, okay? And an algebraic expression has numbers and variables. So that's the difference, okay? All right. So let's take a look at some examples here. Okay. So remember that when there is a number and a letter together, it's telling us to multiply. So this is telling us 6 times D. Okay. If you see something like this, 9ST, it's 9 times S times T. Okay. So when they're combined like that, it's telling you multiplication. Okay. Even MN is telling us M times N. And then a cubed, remember we've talked about exponents before, this is telling us to multiply that base however many times the exponent tells you. So A times A times A. So we need 3 A's being multiplied together, okay? And anytime you have a number in front of a variable, like in this case, the 6 or the 9, these numbers are called coefficients. Okay, so that word, they have a special name. So anytime you have a number with a variable, that number is called the coefficient. Okay, all right. So you can see a couple of examples here where they've told you what the variable is and all they did was plug it into the problem. So instead of saying 2 times n plus 3, now it's 2 times negative 4 plus 3. So they figured out what negative 4 plus 3, remember your T chart, 4 and 3, since they're on opposite sides, that tells us to subtract. So that's where they got the 1, and because 4 is bigger, it's negative 1. Okay, and then they multiply 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Remember your triangle, a positive and a negative leave us with a negative. Okay, and so you can see a couple other examples here. I'm not going to go through them, but you can see them. Here they plugged in W and they plugged in V to find their answer. And here they plugged in Y to find their answer. Okay, and of course you can use a calculator when you're at home. Okay, so we're going to go through a couple of these. So they tell us what C is and what D is. Okay, so let's look at A. C, take away 3. So C is 8. So all I'm going to do is plug in 8 for C and then subtract 3. So 8 take away 3 is 5. Okay, let's see. Let's look at this one, letter C. So 3 times C plus D. All right, so remember C is 8, D is -5. All right, so 8 plus a -5, if you need your T-chart, that gives us 3 because we're subtracting, and 8 is bigger, so it's +3. And then 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, it's as simple as that. Okay, let's look at F. So F is 2D squared plus 5D. Okay, well, so D is -5. So I'm just rewriting the problem with -5 everywhere you see the letter D. Now, remember that D squared, or -5 squared, tells us to go -5 times -5. So 5 times 5 is 25, and a negative times a negative is a positive. So we get 25. And then 5 times -5. So again, 5 times 5 is 25, but a positive times a negative is a negative. Okay? So then 2 times 25 is 50. And here we're subtracting 25 because a positive and a negative is subtraction. So 50 minus 25 is 25. Okay, so all you're doing is plugging values in. Okay. Okay, so now we're looking here. They tell us what M is, what N is, and what P is. There you go. Okay, so you have 3 times 2, because remember 3M tells us to multiply, plus 4 times P, which is -4. And again, we're multiplying because 4P is multiplication. So 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 4 is 16. And a positive times a negative is a negative. Don't forget your triangle when you're multiplying, okay? Positive and negative equal a negative. Now we're ready to add or subtract. So use your T-chart. So you have a +6 and a -16. So 16 is bigger, so we know our answer is going to be negative. And because they're on opposite sides, that does tell us to subtract. So 16 take away 6 is 10. And so -10 is your answer. Okay, let's look at the next one. N squared. So N is 6. So we're going to square that because that's part of the problem. And then, of course, plus 5. So 6 squared, that tells us 6 times 6, which is 36. And 36 plus 5 is 41. It really is that simple. If you need your calculator, use your calculator, but you just have to plug in the values. All right, so let's look at the next one. 6 times P cubed. So P is -4. And we're going to cube that. So remember, cube tells us to multiply it 3 times. So you're going to go -4 times -4 times -4. Okay, so 4 times 4 is 16. And then 16 times 4, if you're not sure, multiply it. And again, you can use your calculator. So 16 times 4, that's 24. That's 4, 5, 6. So 64. And we have to deal with our negatives now. So go 2 at a time. So negative times a negative becomes a positive, and a positive times a negative stays negative. Okay? Now we're going to finish by multiplying by that 6 because we haven't dealt with that yet. So take your 64, multiply by 6. So 24 here, 36, 37, 38. So we get 384, and a positive times a negative is a negative. So -384. And again, you don't have to multiply like I did. You can pull out your calculator. Okay, a website charges 99 cents to download a game and a $12.49 membership fee. Write an expression that gives the total cost in dollars to download G number of games. So we're not saying how many games we bought. It's just a random number. It could be 1, it could be 5, it could be 100. Okay. Well, we know for sure right off the bat, this company is going to charge you $12.49. So let's write that first. $12.49. That's your fee. Okay. Then on top of that, they're going to charge you 99 cents for every game you download. Okay, so if you download 1 game, that's only 99 cents. But if you download 2 games, now you're talking $1.98. Okay, so we're going to take our 99 cents and we're going to multiply that by the number of games that you buy. Okay, so like I said, if you multiplied that by 1, it would still be 99 cents. If you multiplied that by 2, it would be $1.98. Okay, and then 3, and then so on. Okay, so this is your expression. Okay, this is your expression for G games. Then it says, find the cost of downloading 6 games. Well, so what if G was 6, right? So we take $12.49 and we add 99 cents times the 6 games. Let's work that out. So 99 cents times 6 games. So we got 54, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59. 6 times 0 is 0, plus 5 more is 5. Don't forget your decimal. So now we have $5.94. That's just for your 6 games. Then we can add the $12.49 to find the total. So $12.49 plus the $5.94. And so we get a total of $18.43. Okay? You just have to work it out. Okay? Okay, we're going to do a couple more problems. Sorry about that. So again, you have this time X, Y, and Z that we're dealing with. Okay? So plug it in. So X is 3.2 plus Y is 6.1 minus Z is 0.2. Now, you can put this in a T-chart or you can take it step by step. It really is up to you. I'm going to use a T-chart just so we can see it. So 3.2 is positive, 6.1 is positive, but 0.2 is negative. Okay, so because we have 2 things on the same side, we're going to add those first. So that gives me 9. Okay, so 9.3. Now we look that they have stuff on both sides, so now we're going to subtract. And because 9.3 is bigger, it's going to be positive. So 9.3 take away 0.2 leaves us with 9.1, and there's your final answer. Okay. Here, if you look, rewrite the problem with everything you know. So 3.2 plus 6.1 plus 0.2. Okay. So now remember our order of operations. If we have parentheses, we add first. Okay. We do everything in parentheses first. So 3.2, 6.1, and 0.2, we add those up. So that's 5, so 9.5. So we have 14.6 minus 9.5. And then it's just a subtraction problem. So we take 14.6 and we subtract 9.5. We borrow, and we get 5.1. And there's your answer. Okay, and then last but not least, look at here, X and Z together. That means we're multiplying. So we're taking 3.2 times 0.2. And then we're adding that to 6.1 squared, because that says squared. Okay. All right, so again, if you do not know your math facts, that's not going to work. Okay, you can take a calculator. See if my calculator will show up on the screen. Yeah, there we go. So We're going to take 3.2 multiplied by 0.2. And so we get 0.64. And then remember that 6.1 squared is telling us to go 6.1 times 6.1. We need to multiply. So 6.1 times 6.1. So then we get 37.21. Now, if you have a squared button, see how I have this squared button on my calculator? I could go 6.1, press that squared button, and it gives me that same answer. So either way, okay? Then it's just telling me to add. So 0.64 plus 37.21, and we get 37.85 as our final answer. Okay, so make sure you've done all of your lessons from last week, or not last week, I guess technically it was 2 weeks ago. And I'm going to add another video on here for the next lesson. Please make sure you do that. All right, see you soon.